Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I hope you're all having a wonderful week. So, today I'm getting together again with my friend Marie, who is an intuitive mentor, and we're going to talk about fear because fear is something that so many people are experiencing now. And we just got to really realize that it's not, that we are fearful for just for no reason. There's a lot of reasons why we experience fear, and she wants to talk about it from the perspective of the messages that she's been receiving. And I actually want to talk about it from the lens of human design and also the different energies that we run in our bodies that are low frequency, low energies that cause us to experience fear and what happens and actually the meaning and the purpose behind it. So I'm just going to bring it out. 1 second. Accept. We'll be here in a minute. Hold on. Let me. Oh, there you go. I wasn't.
Hi.
I wasn't sure if I was speaking. How are
Good work. Okay, good, good, good. Hi.
you?
How are
Hi.
you? I can't see anything. All right. I'll trust that we are live.
I think so. I hope so.
Good. Good, good,
Otherwise, you and
good.
I are just gonna have our own conversation, right? And we
Yeah, fear not.
Why not? So yeah, no, thank you for joining me. I mean, I know we kind of asked, like, we're wondering what to talk about today, and I feel like fear is a big thing, isn't it? Because so many people are feeling it more than ever. I mean, 2 years ago, I had no clue what fear meant, right? I mean, yeah, like, like if you go into the dark alley, you may feel uncomfortable, but that kind of constant, like that
Yeah.
energy, that heaviness, I guess, that presence. So I'm just quite curious to get your perspective on it. And then I actually want to share what has been coming up for me and also then give people some practical tips really to understand what's going on. So
Yeah.
yeah, do you want to share with us what's happening in a collective with the energies here?
There is so much happening because there's a lot shifting in the collective. And I think we spoke about that a few weeks ago, where it's almost like we are in a transition period where we're going from the way we used to work and operate and do things to a new way of being. And anytime that we step into a new territory, whether it is good or bad, it's always a bit scary, right? It requires a level of trust that yes, it's going to be okay, or that things will work out. And is not that easy most of the times. It's not that easy to trust. And I think the biggest thing that most of us have had to face over the last couple of years is that trust, right? Just finding a deeper level of trust. Because to me, the way I see fear is the lack of trust, is when you don't know if you are capable, or you don't trust the environment, or you don't trust yourself or the universe of God or whatever that is. And that's when we go into fear. So that is from my perspective, that's how I see it. I know that a lot of people refer to fear as the absence of love. To me, in my world, it's more the absence of trust, when you just don't know. So you go into that contraction because you don't feel safe. It's like a trust thing.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think I said before, we could predict what's going to happen tomorrow and even next month and the month after. We kind of had this like, like a very linear, I guess, path in front of us. And this is something we've been conditioned, we've been trained since our childhood. You've got to know what the next step is, right? Like you went to school, then you went to college, university, you got a job, you climb up the ladder. So it was all very kind of step by step, very predictable, very linear. But now we're moving to this kind of, like as you said, there's been like an energetic shift, and especially people who doing self work into personal development. What's happening, especially for me, what happens, I feel like there was just me, moving the entire life. There was like my body, and there was my conscious awareness, right? And I was like moving through my life like this together because this is how we've been brought up. This is all my stories, all the patterns, everything, all my programming. And then I got to a certain stage where I started asking myself bigger questions like, what's my purpose? Who am I? And I started doing a lot of self work. And then what happened, it started the disconnect, got bigger and bigger and bigger,
Mm.
where my level of awareness started kind of increasing while my body, which is my subconscious, which is like 95%, right? We're like, I mean, this is all of our, I guess, all of the
Yeah.
patterns, all of the programming that's running over here, it kind of got stuck. And that gap, I think, between that was the fear because my body and like, like was going, where you going? What's going on? I can't catch up. And
Yeah.
I mean, I know for me personally, that's what's been happening. So that unpredictability, not knowing what's around the bend, like what's going to happen next month. And because, as I said, we're not really being raised with it, it's good to be in our known. It's good to swim in a sea of infinite possibilities. Nobody told us that. It's like you have to know, you've
No.
got to plan for the future. And now we're like, shit, I can't plan for the future. I don't know what this is going to happen, how
But
this,
that
and that's
happened.
that trust. It's that attachment, right? It's that control.
Yeah.
And I think that's the pain that so many are feeling right now.
Yes, totally. The we like predictability. It's exactly right. It's what keeps us safe. If I know what I can predict, if I can predict what's going to happen next, then I can prepare and I'm safe. And with things changing so rapidly, it's almost like the rug's being pulled from under our feet. And we now need to kind of get used to this way of being. And what also happens, I feel, is that because not only the environment is changing, we are changing. And sometimes it's like, well, I don't really recognize myself at times, things we upgrade and it's all for our improvement and our betterment, but it's still scary. Like, okay, I am changing. I don't resonate with the same people I used to, with these same things, with the same hobbies, with the same jobs that I used to. I don't know. I don't know. Now I can't predict. And so again, it's that lack of trusting in ourselves that we have the tools and the resources and everything that we need to deal with it. But yeah, that's when the fears, at least for what I see, is that's when they creep in. Um, and something that came recently in one of my sessions was I was tuning into this client and I could see her whole fears in the lower chakras. Her root was almost like an anchor, just weighting her down. And all this energy was being spent keeping her stuck in the same place. So she wasn't moving forward. She was constantly tired and exhausted, but it was her own energy playing against her. So we really need to learn how to manage and how to recognize it for what it is and move through it. And I don't know, I assume that from human design perspective, each type will have their own way of dealing with it, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I was
I
going to say,
think,
because that's what's really been helping me. I mean, it's my tool, really. When I feel something is off, I feel like I'm off the track. I feel fear, which still comes up for me. It's a lot less now, but human design is my go-to tool. And there in all of our human designs, depending on your design, but it's the three fear centers. It's our ajna, which is the mental anxiety fear. There's a spleen, which is like instincts, right? And when we live in that constant fear, like of fight and flight mode, it's our cortisol levels go up and it suppresses our immune system. And not even that, it also suppresses our creativity, right? So we can't
mm,
even come up with this like amazing ideas. And so we just like what's going to happen next? What's going to happen? It's like analysis by paralysis. And then another fear is our emotional fear. But I know for me, it's been coming up. It's the energies of my spleen. So the spleen is a instinct, it's just a run and flight kind of thing. And
yeah.
what's interesting, I hold the two most predominant fears there is the fear of the past and the fear of the future. And these two energies have been really playing out for me in the last while. And also what's even more interesting is both of these energies are very predominant on my chart. For me, it's actually my life purpose. My life purpose is how to unravel, I guess, the mystery or the patterns, right? The patterns of the past, how to break the patterns of the past, find new meaning and create like a future, right? That is based on more meaning and more fulfillment. and this is my life purpose. But the downside of that is the fear of the past. And it's, it's kind of letting go. It's always like letting go, surrendering. Where can I release a little bit more? Because I cannot really, I guess, go into the future, break all of the patterns if I'm still holding on. And this has been my major work with me and also with my clients, helping them, to break their patterns to enable them to move on. So the fears of the spleen, and there are 8 different fears, they definitely play out so much for many of us. But the good news is that kind of the fear where it's not going to kill us. It's not like, it's the fear of
Gonna make you
responsibility.
stronger.
Yeah, I mean, once you kind of understand, right, it's not me, but it's just the energy I'm running, and these are the energies, and that's why they're playing out, and how to deal with them. You can kind of like take a breath and like really have, have a capacity, have an ability to move forward.
Yeah, that's great. I see that the way I usually see it is either in the lower chakra, so where most of the patterns from childhood got created and then stay with us. So and what is usually very interesting is that our perspective as children is so different from our perspective as adults. So anything that we perceived as scary today is very different to what scared us as children. But the emotion, if it gets stuck, is still there, and it will keep getting triggered and triggered and triggered and triggered until we find that in our energy field or in our chakras, and we clear or work with it. So sometimes I would be working with a client, and I would be able to see that, this big amount of fear stuck in there from childhood. And when we start to trace it back, it may be something totally silly right now. You would see, well, you got scared because your mom turned around and suddenly you couldn't see her face anymore. You saw your back and you thought that mom was leaving. And then that fear of abandonment has been there all along. And the moment, we talk about it, you realize that it's something so silly or something so small. But at that time, it was a big deal because as children, our parents are our everything and we need them to keep us safe. So now, as we go through adult life, anytime that we don't feel safe or that we're scared of someone leaving, we start to bring all that energy back up, and it gets to get clear. But being aware of what's going on, especially if it's perhaps a bit of an irrational emotion, is always very important. So the moment you're aware that maybe something is not quite right, or I don't know why I keep seeing this pattern come up again and again and again, it's just an amazing first step to then start healing that and moving through it.
Exactly. And I think just even allowing ourselves to feel it, right? Because the first instinct, I guess, the first reaction so many of us will have is like, I'm not feeling good. I'm feeling, oh, this freaking fear is back. What am I feeling so anxious? And you start judging it. And by judging it, you're actually fueling it. So you're giving it even more attention, right? Because wherever our attention goes, energy flows. So instead of just like, right, I'm feeling the fear and I don't actually know what's going to happen tomorrow, and just really sitting with it, I don't know, and being okay with it, right? Because once again, it's our programming conditioning comes in, like at school, you have to come up with an answer. You've got to put up your hand. You've got to answer the question, because if you didn't, others going to think you're stupid, or, and all of that crap has accumulated. So now when we feel like we're stuck, we don't know what's next, or, we're trying to fix something and we don't know how. A lot of that fear comes up. What happens if I can never figure it out? What happens if I fail this person? What happens if I fail my family? What happens if I have no money? What happens? And we just start kind of putting so much pressure on us than like just, well, okay, I don't know shit right at this moment. So let me just sit with it and let me feel into it. And that's what I've been really doing for the last 2 or 3 months, rather than just reach out for something or try to find a solution. And I must say it's getting less and less and less and less. And I definitely feel like big shift, where sometimes I'm like, I don't know. I don't actually have answers for this right now. and I'm
Yeah.
okay about it, and that just feels like
Yeah.
really liberating.
Well, that's amazing. And even sometimes feeling it is all that is required, as long as we are not ignoring or pretending that everything is perfect, it's all amazing, and trying to deny it, because that's when we get in trouble. That's when we are not allowing the emotion, that energy to flow through. Usually a wave of emotion runs through our field. It takes 90 seconds, right? If you allow the wave, when it hits you, when you can feel it coming, and then breathe and let it pass, the intensity, that intense aspect of it, it lasts 90 seconds. But if we start to try to ignore it, push it down, pretend that we are fine, and that's when we actually start to embody it, it gets blocked and it stays with us. It stays in our system, stays in our nervous system, and then it takes a lot more work. And usually when I'm channeling guides, every time, and I experience this in my own life with my own guides, in my worst moments, when I would be dealing with big situations, they will always just come with me and be like, feel it, stay right there. Don't look for the distraction. Don't reach out for the phone and, try to just call someone. Stay right there and feel it all. And I used to get so angry at my guides. I would just send them away, like, how dare you, help me. Don't just tell me to sit here and feel it. Give me a solution, something. And it'll be like, this is a gift. Feel it, receive it, don't fight it. And sometimes, that's become a way of living for me now. I'm just so used to that. And I can see my clients' faces sometimes when I say, that's the guidance, because it comes all the time, not just from my guides, clients' guides. And, they always look at me like, is this a joke? Are you kidding me? Like, are you insane? Do you want me to stay and feel this is a gift? Like, get out of here.
Mm.
But, in perspective is amazing. And then we always look back and we can find lessons. We can find the gift. It's always there. We need to remember that the universe is not conspiring against us. It's always working to our
Right.
betterment. And, easier
Yeah.
said than done when you're in the thick of it, but it's true.
Exactly. And what if, our old level of awareness, our old level of consciousness really required us to go and fix things, right? And do things when we feel bad, when we feel fear, I've got to go do something. But where we are right now, it's not about even doing things, but it's just being, right? Because it is all moving from the doingness to beingness. So right before we did something to suppress the fear or to overcome the fear, we'd motivate ourselves over fear. Now it's just being. It's just being with the fear, because motivation is just another form, I think, of attachment. So when people say think positive, I'm like, I don't know, I mean, I'm not sure I want to think positive when I'm in fear, because it's just, I'm just in denial then. Like, that's it. I'm
Yeah.
just denying myself to feel whatever crap I'm going through. And whatever you resist persists. So it's always going to come back. But if you really sit with it, I mean, I think that's the key, is just allow yourself to feel it, to process it. And of course, like the more tools you have, like through the guides or through human design or whatever the tools that people are using, I feel it can just help with this extra validation or, extra reassurance that nothing is broken, that we actually okay and we are exactly where we're meant to be. And I think that's what's
Yeah.
happening now, right? Because we're going to be constantly giving these lessons, whether it's in a business, maybe, not making certain money or having no clients, or maybe people are stuck in a job or in the relationships. And until you really just like value yourself with or without that thing, with or without the fear, when you kind of have the deeper connection to yourself and you're like, well, I'm freaking amazing, regardless how shit I feel, the universe
Yeah.
always going to always giving it back to you over and over and over again until you finally like, this is it. I'm just like surrendering. I can't do anything with this right now.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, it goes back to that trust, but also feeling the emotions. And I think I tell this story so many times. Um, but because I channel and I work with different beings and they come from different places, right? And I remember once I had an encounter with this guy, beautiful, super high vibration, whatever, amazing being, but they don't have the range of emotions that we have, right? So it's more like the higher the consciousness, the more steady they are. So they are very centered and balanced. And they don't have much, right? It's all very one tone. And it was amazing. I was learning a lot from this being. But then I came back and I'm like, how boring. Like, yes, super conscious, amazing insight, but no emotion. And I remember I was horrified after that, thinking, really? Like you didn't, because of course it's the fears and the sadness and all that that then allow us to enjoy when we are on the other side of it, right? We celebrate, I don't know, when we achieve something because we didn't have it before. So we had to strive for it. We had to push ourselves. We had to problem solve and go through the whole thing until we get there, and then we celebrate, right? It's like, I did it, look at me. It's awesome because of what we went through. That's what gives the meaning, right, to the thing, the final achievement. But when everything is, if you're so neutral that you don't get to feel anything, I was horrified. I'm like, I'll stay right here. I want to feel it all, like bring it on. And it really changed my perspective on emotions. It was such an eye opener. Yeah, so now I'm like, yeah, feel it all, no problem. Of
That's
course, I
really great
have a
example.
preference, but
That's really
yeah,
great. Yeah, that's a really great example, you know. And also, I mean, I just want to kind of say this, that even when we feel this fear and anxiety and stuckness, and I hear all the time, I'm like stuck in my life, I'm trapped in my job, you know, like nothing is working. But I believe is that we all have this like contract, right? This kind of plan, this agreement we come here with, and we would not be given anything that we cannot handle. So maybe it was our life path to work through that stuckness, you know, or to work through
yeah,
a business that fails and to live in this like fear and doubt and anxiety, maybe even for years. It's not like a quick overnight fix for many people, but maybe that's what we've chosen. And that's why we're here, you know, because let me just, sorry. Maybe that's what we've chosen because this is then what we're here to help others with. Because I don't believe that we can truly help someone to achieve something unless we have experienced it ourselves. So
yeah,
it's just, you know, I think for people who are listening, it's just, you know, and if someone is also like struggling with fear, with doubt, with uncertainty, this is just a path that you've got to go through and learn from it and get wisdom from it, because that's something I truly believe is in a soul contract. And some people, I mean, you know, you listen, I work with so many people and I had so many coaches, and I don't actually know of a single story who's reached like incredible success without going through something personal, you know. And for some it's like
yeah.
real serious like health issues, death, like traumas. For others it's just, you know, kind of dealing with the daily life and just giving up and giving up again and then picking themselves up and giving up. But all I'm saying, it's like it's just a journey, it's just part of the journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. And most of the times after each of those big experiences, we want to escape, right? We just want to be done with it and jump into the next thing. Whereas actually our system, our energy and our body and everything else, it needs time to recalibrate. needs time to settle in. The nervous system needs to feel safe again. And it's not something that we can outrun, right? It's not something that we can um, decide the timing. The timing is what it is. We can't just run away. And if we try to do that, we only make it worse. So most of the times, it's like, go through it, accept it, be grateful. Okay, this is in my life. I'm going to learn from this. Amazing. And keep going.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Just keep going, and just surrounding. I think environment is a big thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, just trying to also, and also try not to jump the gun completely, well, I'm feeling like shit, nothing is working. Okay, I'm going to manifest $1 million tomorrow, so it's like, what is the next little thing I can do that's going to make me feel a bit better? And for me, like sometimes it's even just sitting and watching a bit of like TV with kids, like a Netflix, something like fun, or like I took my daughter ice skating and we had so much fun. I mean, I haven't ice skated since I was a kid. And just like doing small things that will raise your energy. So when you come home and then you've got to, do a task that maybe you felt fearful about, or you had doubts and anxiety or uncertainty, you felt stuck, all of a sudden it just feels a lot, not even a lot, but even a little bit better. So you always look for this like a little bit better feeling, like what do I know that makes me feel a little bit better than where I am right now? And then just doing that. Okay. And for some people, it might be just like doing nothing, going for a walk. And yeah, it's always looking for that slightly better feeling. And I find that can, really help you to get out of that rut, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Just listening to the body, the soul, all of it. What do I really need right now? Sometimes it may be go to sleep, go to sleep. Sometimes it may be, like you said, stay in and watch something for a moment, as long as you're not like distracting from being present with what's coming up. But if it is okay, it's just my next step to feel good, to get out of this, to open my mind to all the possibilities. Because when we get so focused on the thing, what's wrong, what's scary, we sort of close off. Usually the way I see is like our energy field contracts. All our chakras sort of close and we are like in that so tense. There's no room for anything. We can't need to find something to open up and be present to all the other possibilities around us and open our mind and our hearts to what's possible. So
Exactly.
yeah, definitely.
Exactly. So I know you've got, I think, like some offers or something coming up where people can work with you and you can help them to clear. Can you just share more on that?
Yeah, well, I'm doing a class on Monday, on Friday on my Facebook group for people around their purpose and getting through their fears and
Mm.
the limitations and all of that around really stepping up and stepping into their purpose. So that's a free class. The link to my group is on my bio in my profile. And then, yes, I just have my one-on-one sessions where we can channel and look at the energy and see what's going on, get messages from guides to help navigate these scary times. So yeah, those sessions are $155 one-on-one, full support. And yeah, it's really good. We get to do so much in 1 hour. It's amazing.
Yeah, they are amazing, absolutely amazing. I had a couple of them done, and yeah, they were incredible. Oh, that's amazing. And
What
also,
you doing these days?
yeah, and for those who also want to really understand more about why they experience fear, not even that, but really how to push through it. That's the most important thing, how to push through fear, how to set boundaries, how to communicate. And I think communication is crucial at these times because a lot of us don't even understand what's going on with us. And then you've got your partners and your family and your friends like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Are you okay? And you don't even understand what's going on and how to
Mm.
express your thoughts, feelings, and emotions clearly. So for those who you really want to step into this next version, I guess, of you, I offer human design readings And also, I've got my one-on-one program called Unlock Your Purpose. So if anyone is interested, then get in
Beautiful.
touch with Marie or get in touch with me and we can have a chat. So,
That's
yes,
amazing. Yay, I got so much from my chat when you did it for me. It was so cool. Really, really insightful.
it
Yeah.
is. It's a beautiful tool. The thing is, I mean, with the tool, it's just, and obviously, making it practical to your life or having some other tools to help us. Because I think listening to this is, probably I guess, gives people ideas as to what they can do, like sit with your feelings, listen to silence, take your time, and also do take actions. I mean, I'm not saying just
Mm.
like go meditate and do nothing. Absolutely take actions, but get in tune with your body. But we still need the tools, I think, to help us to get through it because on your own, trying to navigate through this, I think it's very lonely, very painful. It's just going to be a really, really long process. So, for those who are
Yeah.
listening, I do encourage you to get hold of Marie, myself. We would love to support you guys. So, on that
So
note,
awesome.
my friend, it was lovely to talk to you as always, and we'll connect
Thank you so
again
much.
in a few days'
Yes.
time again.
Yes, see you next week.
Okay, amazing. Okay, good night.
You lovely. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye, everyone.